Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Xan Hong with us today. He's helping businesses scale using AI and no-code technology. He's the founder at Drive Phase Consulting. So he's been doing that for almost 3 years now. He's been a startup mentor. He's been a venture scout at Million Labs, co-owner still of Choice Insurance Solutions. So serial entrepreneur guy with big startup experience, studied BA biology and nutrition, oddly enough. Went to Draper University as well. I love the Drapers. Cool guy altogether. Should be a pretty fun conversation today. This podcast is presented by podpire.com. If you want to start a podcast and monetize it through YouTube AdSense, get sponsors, and even get leads from your podcast, you can go to podpire.com. We have a free ebook for you that's Kindle published as well. And we have a masterclass if you'd like to skyrocket your podcast journey. Xan, welcome to the pod, aka X. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you taking the time. Looking forward to it. As you mentioned, I kind of have a serial entrepreneur background. Been building apps in no code for the last 3-4 years now. I started building apps for my own businesses. Kind of a funny story I always like to share is it started over the pandemic when my 8-year-old daughter, she was an only child. So the pandemic was tough for her. But what she loved was the ice cream truck. And so what would happen all the time is she would go try and get her money and her shoes to go to the ice cream truck. She'd miss it. So she asked me if we could build an app to track the ice cream truck. And as a dad, I was like, well, I can't say no. And then I looked at how much it would cost to pay someone to do it. I said, well, we're going to find a way, but it's not going to be that way. So I took a course on how to use Bubble.io, built the app. And actually, funny enough, we actually had a food truck association in Green Bay license it from us. It was my 8-year-old daughter's idea. So that's how I got into no code. And then, like I said, started building for my own businesses, and then, then started building for other businesses too.
This is quite interesting. I think I had a guy that built a hard-coded ice cream truck app and company, right? So the sort of Uber of ice cream trucks. I had him on the pod. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that guy was working hard. I still remember the darkness under his eyes. I would like to check in with him. He was quite the promising entrepreneur. And you just reminded me that I have Häagen-Dazs in my fridge. I bought like 2 liters of it yesterday at Costco. So you just made me happier right now thinking of that. Now, what are you focused on nowadays? Are you still all about serial experimenting, or do you have like one startup of yours that you're scaling right now?
I'm focused mostly on the Drive Phase Consulting, where we're building for other people. So where we're focused is a good question. Where we are still kind of building broad for a broad range of industries, trying to find a niche for ourselves. Ultimately, I think that's where we want to be. But we have worked in a variety of industries, kind of construction, insurance industry, e-commerce, as well as I'm trying to think what else. A lot, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to go upstream a little bit. It's been tough working with smaller businesses because a lot of times they don't understand technology. They don't understand the value of it. And so we kind of found it to be not as profitable. So we're working with larger and larger organizations.
And when is there enough experimenting? When do you become sort of a jack of all trades and people are just not buying from you because they're too confused with like the inventory of your offer?
Well, that's a good question. So we have been narrowing. We used to do a lot. We used to do a broad range of services. We also did kind of lead generation and things like that. So we've actually cut that. If you go to our website now, we don't do any of that. And so most of our revenue was coming from the no code app development. So we've been focusing on that. But even beyond that, we're trying to focus even more. But it's tough, right? Because you want to kind of see where the business is coming from, and one of the industries that we're looking at right now is healthcare, because it has specialized needs, and but and it also has kind of regulatory issues, which could be a deterrent, but it also could be a reason why there's less competition for it. So, but when you're having a hard time getting traction, I think is when you have to focus even more. I think is really the answer to that question.
Right. And when people start paying you, I guess you start feeling product market fit, and we usually go where the money is, right?
Exactly.
Talking about that, do you still sell insurance on the side, or do you mostly on the startup side of things and drive face consulting?
It's mostly dry face consulting. What happened is I had an insurance agency and I left that. It was something that I just didn't enjoy. But what I did was I helped one of my key employees start her own agency. So so technically I'm a minority owner in her agency. I'm actually technically still licensed, but I'm not active at all in the agency. So it was a weird dynamic for a while because I had been her boss, and I think she was very cognizant of not coming in and putting my fingerprints on it. So I learned very quickly I had to kind of step back and let her run it her way. And so that's, like I said, it wasn't something I enjoyed anyway. So eventually I kind of just said, hey, you do your thing. You help. You come to me when you need help. But other than that, I'm going to stay completely out of this.
Right. Then the no code side of things, I'm quite bullish about no code and the simplicity of it. Instead of building Rome from scratch, when you already have a template and partly built cities, right? You can start from templates and you can connect this app with that app. So I've always been very bullish on no code. This year, we've also seen crazy apps that I've been testing lately, like bolts.new, vo.dev, replit.com, that can also code an app just through prompting, right? It's quite incredible. What's your take on that? Like, are we shifting even from bubble in which you need to drag and drop things to a prompt? Is everything going through the UX of a ChatGPT sort of app?
So it's funny. I just had a conversation. I literally just had a conversation on this. So it's hard to say. We're at a time. You always have to be moving where the puck is going, but I think that the challenge right now is the puck is moving so freaking fast, right? Like it's very
even Wayne can't follow it.
Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult to predict. But here's my take on it. What I think right now, right? One of the biggest benefits of no code is someone that does not have a technical background can go in and build something. With AI code, there's a couple things. If you have a coding background, then I think that's going to be your choice, right? Because you can do that much faster. It spits it out in a language that you understand. If you don't have a technical background, there are two issues with that method. Is number one, it spits out the code, but you still have to deploy that app, right? And if you don't have a technical background, that's not that easy, right? Like you have to figure out the server, you have to maintain the server, things like that. The other thing is, particularly from a startup perspective, I tell people all the time, you build your initial MVP or minimal viable product, you're about 0.2% where you need to be, right? You still need to go take user feedback and iterate on that. And I'm not convinced it's that easy to take something that's been, AI generated code and iterate it in a way that you need it to make these small changes over time. And that's where I've seen no code apps really excel, is you can very, very quickly iterate on that app. Now, that statement could be very wrong within the next 6 to 12 months or, however long. But as it stands right now, that's kind of where I still think no code has an advantage. But like I said, things are moving so quickly, it's hard to say.
Right. It's like the website building question, WordPress or Webflow or even Shopify, like in any instances nowadays, I re-switched from Webflow to WordPress, for example, and it's still incredibly cheap. WordPress is free for some reason. Maybe some apps like ChatGPT will stay free and will allow us to no code some stuff amazingly. Who knows? That's also an important question, right? Because Webflow, not only the UX has it become like not so friendly, but if you take apps like Shopify, it's becoming quite expensive and they can raise the price on you. So you need to be careful about what you build upon, right? And I think that, these no-code apps like the ones that I named initially that are like a ChatGPT to build an app, I think, yeah, they're not fully complete and you need to still spend your time. But it's a very nice prototype. It's really promising and it's giving a bunch of entrepreneurs the possibility to not only launch their own business, like a D2C business is really hard, right? Like selling product, but launching a SaaS.
Mhm.
Um, Talking about that, like what first, who are your clients nowadays? And what are you building? Like what SaaS have you built lately that you're bullish on? Like what industry are you watching right now?
So I can't share too much, but we built a platform for someone in the risk management industry, which obviously I have a background in, so this helped as well. What was really interesting about that is that their other estimate, so they have an idea. The the part of the industry that they're in is very much dominated by large entities, right? And a lot of what they do, surprisingly, is still in Excel. So what they're smaller, they're kind of a startup within that industry, so they want to find ways to differentiate themselves and kind of launching disruptive technology is one of the strategies, which I think is a good one. So they had a concept for a platform. Their other estimate that they got was close to and actually was over 500,000. We did it for under 40,000, right? And it's just, again, it's something that's being done in Excel right now. It's basically tracking collateral and also calculating the amount of collateral required. Those in the insurance industry have to hold a certain amount of collateral, and so the platform is basically tracking the amount of collateral that they're holding, as well as calculating how much they need to hold, right? And again, right now that's being done in Excel. So we built that platform to track that. We did a nice app for a running supplement company that is for their community of users, where they can do. We built a custom run tracker, as well as a kind of a Facebook type interface, as well as a leaderboard. So there's a broad range of things that we've done in a couple different industries.
And are you building apps and SaaS project for yourself?
Yeah, we have a couple for myself that we're building a tool to easily search for grants, especially for those like in minority or women-owned businesses. One of the things that we found, we kind of have started as a service-based business, but we're building a SaaS to help us deliver that service, with the hopes of eventually launching it as a SaaS. And so what we found is it was very difficult to find grants that matched your criteria. Like the searching functionality was actually very, very difficult, especially for those that are just focused on, like, for instance, women-owned businesses. So we're actually building an app and building a kind of an algorithm, so to speak, to make that process a little bit easier.
Got it. How do you leverage your background in biology and physical education nowadays? Does that help you?
Um, Less so. So I got that degree from the University of Penn. So I probably leveraged that aspect of it more than I leveraged my actual degree, if I'm being honest. We don't do a lot within. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that we do. Now I do have a master's in education, and I do think that sometimes, like when I do presentations and communication, I think that aspect helps me. But as far as my actual degree, I don't think that actually, what my major in is, I don't use a lot of. But like I said, the University of Penn degree does help me at times.
Right. And what does a day to day in your life looks like? What habits are you working on to make you more happy and productive?
Yeah, so great question. So one of the things that's really helped a lot is I used to kind of be involved in the business development as well as the delivery. Now I have a team, offshore team, from a development standpoint. So I've really gotten myself out of delivery of projects, which has been a huge help, right? Because what would happen before is I would sell a project, spend time building it, and then deliver it, and then my pipeline would be empty, right? And so I really focused on getting myself out of the delivery. One thing that's really helped is my wife actually has a background in product product management, both for a couple large banks as well as one of the contractors that built the VA hospital mobile app. Or I don't know if they originally built it, but they were working on the development of that. So she's got a really strong background in product management. So she's really helped by creating processes and really managing the operational side, while I've been able to focus on the business development side. That's been a game changer for us. But from there, it's really been focusing on the activities that will generate leads. And so actually, we use Teamwork, but I've also got another app for myself that's been really nice. It's I think it's called Blitzit. It was a lifetime during Black Friday. I got a lifetime deal on it, and it's nice because what I can do is list all my to-dos, put it in a backlog, then kind of plan out my week as far as, okay, these are the things I want to do this week, and then I can just then I can kind of prioritize the tasks I have to do for the next day, and then I can just go through the Blitzit part. Is I have an estimated time frame on each task. I can hit a button, it has a timer on it, and I can go right through that list, and it really keeps me focused, and I like it a lot. So that's been huge as far as just really keeping myself focused on those activities that eventually lead to obviously a revenue. Because as you know, it's very easy to start getting sidetracked into stuff that doesn't isn't revenue generating.
Right. So talking about sales, how do you actually sell nowadays? Is it LinkedIn outreach? Is it cold email? Is it speaking stuff? And who do you target exactly?
Yeah, so we are doing LinkedIn outreach. That is working. Social listening has been also a key tool for us. Figure out those that are looking for certain things online. And then doing outreach to them, that's actually been effective as well. Cold email has not been as effective as I would like it to be. And then also content helps support that, right? Because usually what happens is we'll get the lead, they'll come to my LinkedIn, see content that I put out there on YouTube and LinkedIn, and then reach out. And usually kind of the funnel is I like them to schedule a free consultation, and from there, kind of close from there. But those are kind of the main activities that have been, kind of key things for us.
And what's been challenging in your business for this year?
I talked through a lot of them, and a lot of it was earlier in this year. I was trying to do everything, and I wasn't excelling at anything. So really, my wife coming on to help out with the operations, focusing on the business development, and then finding the activities that were effective in lead generation. Those are the things that really have made a difference. And so that's really led us to have a much healthier pipeline from a business perspective.
And don't you feel as well, like on the sales level, there's a lot of no-code agencies out there. So the market's pretty cold when it comes to this. Had various clients in that niche. Like, do you have the same feeling?
I'll be honest. A lot of the clients that we're having success with, when we approach them, don't even really know what no-code is. What I'm finding is a lot of the no-code agencies are focusing on people looking for no-code solutions, right? I think that market is very saturated. What we're trying to do is go out to people that are looking to get an app done, right? And educating them on no-code, right? And it's a win, right? Because I'll give you the example of the one in risk management, right? Their other solution that they're looking at was $500,000, right? We were less than 1/10 of that. So they're thrilled at that, and we're thrilled at that, right? And so that is where I think we're really getting some traction. The other piece of it is I come from a business background. I've got a lot of experience in a wide range of industries. So where a lot of people find value in working with us is I come in really understanding the business side of it, of what they're trying to build. But I also understand, because I can build in no code, I understand the technical side of it. So a lot of times people really appreciate that perspective, and that's why they really enjoy working with us, is kind of working with someone that has both those aspects of it. And then you later on kind of my wife's experience, where she's got kind of this enterprise level experience on building product, and you kind of also get the structure as well. So it's a really good. I think we've got some unique value propositions. So again, we're going after stuff that other no code agencies I don't think are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So what are your objectives for 2025?
So we've really made a focus on going upstream early in the year, and I think we needed to. Like we were working with a lot of like local small businesses, which the biggest challenge there was they just didn't, like I said, they didn't understand the technology. They don't understand the value of it, and so they would kind of really just nickel and dime us over projects that we were way undercharging for, And so we're really looking at kind of larger, probably 2 to 10 million, maybe even a little bit bigger than that. We're also exploring. I just came back from BubbleCon. There was a case study of Seagate, the hard drive manufacturing company, where they actually moved from code to no code. They, one of the things that was interesting is, they saved 2.3 million a year on their coded agency, and they cut a launch timeline from 15 months down to 3 to 4 months. Right. So I think that's a harder sell, but also if we can get, we wouldn't need many of them to really gain some traction. So I think it's really just trying to, again, I think it's just education, right? Because most people have the perception that no code is WordPress, right? And it's got severe limitations, when the reality is so far we haven't run into a situation where we haven't been able to build a no code. Now that might happen at some point, but I think it really is just education, because like I said, I think what we're running into is the perception that no code can't build what they need to. Because a lot of times the first question I get is, can this be built in no code? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that no code cannot build. Common features, and usually when you go into like complicated features, well, people don't usually ask for those. So, well, Xan, thanks for coming on today. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, they can go to our website. It's www.drivephase.co. So it's DRIVEPHASE.co. Just a little background on that. I was a sprinter in college, and the drive phase is the first part of a sprint of a 100-meter dash where you're accelerating. And so that's really kind of where we feel we can help kind of companies in that process, in that business cycle, is really just the acceleration phase. So that's kind of where that name came from.